Hi, everybody. Maya here. I feel like it's been a long time since I was just sort of in regular life mode. Um, I think probably most of you have seen that I had a big experience. Hi, Barbara. Hey, Melissa. I had a big experience with this lost dog showing up last Tuesday. So 6 days ago, and I finally got him corralled and at the vet and at the shelter. I can't even remember when. Would have been probably Friday. And then I took the weekend and chilled out. And so tonight we're going to be talking about how to deal with the backlash that comes when we put ourselves out there in a new way and get visible. And you probably, if you've been paying attention, also know that I have a new radio show that went live on the air for the first time just over a week ago. So I was already really thinking about this. This is the place where I've been working with private clients recently. Like, you get this soul calling to like speak your truth out into the world, or step up in a more creative way, do something different in your art, or do something different in the way that you teach, or whatever your soul mission is. It could be relate differently to the people you're intimate with. It could just be like open your heart a little more, right? But what's the next level of self-expression for you? And there always is this fear of getting visible and showing ourselves. And then we kind of snap back into ourselves and hide a little bit, right? But if you're too much in that pattern of holding back and hiding, you start to get frustrated with yourself. And so that's the place where I have been working with my clients these days. So of course it's where I'm working with myself as well. So I thought, oh, how cool. I have this new radio show. I'm going to be more visible. That's awesome, because it's like now I have to show up for this radio show, which is one, I mentioned this in a Facebook Live a week and a half ago. One way to get yourself to show up more and stop hiding and be more visible when you're scared to do it is to set it up so that you have to, right? Like, tell everybody you're going to go live on Facebook at 7 o'clock, and then here I am. I have to show up. But what I didn't know was coming my way was that after I did my first radio show a week ago, Friday a week ago, like a week and a half ago, I just had that little retreat feeling happening inside of myself. And I thought, okay, on Monday, let me, like early in the week, let me do talk about that feeling, exactly what I'm here talking to you about tonight. Like that place where you step out and then you're visible and then you're like, oh my God, they can see me. And so you retreat really fast. A friend of mine put it this way. She said, when you step out of your usual zone, it's like you've swum out into the middle of this really big, bright lake. And now you're in the middle of the lake and you're like, oh my God, everybody can see me. Let me swim really fast back to the shore where I'm safe. It makes me think about my cat when I walk him in fields. He might stay in the middle of the field with me, close to me, or he will make a mad dash for the perimeter. And so I was already thinking about this, and then this lost, hungry, ill dog showed up on my property. And I posted about it to Facebook. And that post, my original post, has been shared, I think this afternoon, 13,700 times. 13,700 times. I have been getting messages from all over the world. Some of it is officially hate mail. Honestly. Oh, Laurent says, how to deal with celebrity backlash. God. Make some waves, Rita says. Oh, Laurent says, show up versus being seen. That's really, really interesting that you say that. That's some of the stuff, that's very interesting, that distinction. I'm going to think about that. But so what I didn't know was that my game of being visible was going to explode and get so much bigger. I had no idea. And that's what happens sometimes, right? You're like, I'd like to be a little more visible. Let me step out a little bit more. And then life is like, how about this spotlight? So one of the important things, and this is why I'm here talking about it, is that you want to make sure that you have, I'm going to call it a safety net, right? Your community, your belief system in place, a bunch of stuff that, let me actually check my notes and make sure that, okay, so here's what we're talking about, right? you get this soul calling to step out in a bigger way and express yourself. That's awesome. And then you're like, oh my God, they can see me. And you rush back to your hiding place. And then in your hiding place is usually where you start experiencing this backlash. And the backlash, it can be inner and it can be outer. So I have some notes I want to make sure I actually organized for this call. Okay, let's start with the outer. The outer. What's the outer backlash? It's other people. It is other people. It's the hate mail that I got about me sharing about the lost dog, and all of the opinions that people started sharing with me, either in Facebook messages. I think I still have like 100 unread Facebook messages from people about this lost dog. Some of them are really supportive. All right. So sometimes in your backlash, in that like the locker room after the game or behind, backstage after the show, you'll find people who are really encouraging and supportive. And sometimes you will find naysayers. And we have talked about naysayers many times before here because you have to know how to deal with them, right? So that's part of the outer backlash. When you step out, you express yourself in a different way, you show up in a new way, you stop holding back, you stop hiding, and then other people are gonna tell you that you've done it wrong. And they'll be mean, they'll give you unsolicited advice. People were saying things like, everybody had a fear about this dog, right? The fears were things like, don't give him back to an abusive owner. Or the total opposite of that. Don't give the dog back to an abusive owner. Or don't keep this dog from his rightful owner. So you see, it's like I got backlash. I got unsolicited advice from two totally like the opposite end of the spectrum. Like, make sure you do not give him back. People would speak that strongly to me. Do not give him back to his abusive owner. And then people say, don't you understand how heartbroken people are when they lose their dog? Yes, I do. Okay. So the backlash when you step out in your creativity can be outer, where people are giving you unsolicited advice. They could be just plain mean. I actually got some emails that were just like, you need to sit down and think about yourself. And you know what I did? Here's how I handled that email. This one email that came through, I think Friday night, that totally gave me a little emotional spin. I sat with it. I had my emotional sadness and hurt. I felt violated and victimized, right? So you have that first. And then I thought, who do I want to be in the world? Because what's triggering in my mind as this is happening is like, they've seen me, right? And now they know about me, who I am. They know where I live, and I'm going to get in trouble. Can you relate to any of that? Like, think about a time when you have stepped out. Without calling anybody out who's on this call, I see some names, and I know some ways that you guys have stepped out. You don't have to like share that openly here on Facebook. That is not what I'm suggesting. But think about for yourself a time when you stepped out. It could be leaving a relationship. It could be dating somebody who's totally outside your social circle. It could be changing jobs. Think of the backlash that you received for that, okay? And what it felt like inside of you, right? Because that's what happens. We step out, the outer backlash happens, and we have this inner experience. Like, will people be mad at me? That's one of my big ones. I'm like, always afraid I'm gonna get in trouble. I have this really big response of like, oh no, I did it wrong, I'm gonna get in trouble. What's yours? Hi guys, I see a bunch of you out there. So awesome to see everybody here. Hi, I'm getting some me toos. Awesome, good to see you. And you don't have to share. You can if you want to, but I get it if you don't. So, like once you're out and expressing yourself, there's nowhere to hide, and it feels really alarming. And this brings us to that place of the inner backlash. What does the inner backlash feel like? Okay, let's start mental first, okay? You have your mind, and your thoughts will start naysaying you. You're gonna have backlash in your own head, right? What's the big one? The big one for me, and I see this with my private clients too, because again, the people I work with tend to be people who are getting this calling to step out in a bigger way and express their inner truth, either expressively in their art or who they want to be, how they want to express themselves in fashion or out in the world or in their relationships, and it feels really risky. Wait, I'm just going to take a look here. Laurent says, backlash, projections, attacks, she's experienced them all. Rita says hers is, but I'm not allowed to disobey you. You got to be a good girl, right, Rita? Or you're going to get in trouble and nobody will love you, right? I'm not saying that to you, Rita. I'm saying that to all of us, right? What are we afraid of here? Getting in trouble and not being loved or accepted or belonging anymore. So you want to start paying attention to your thoughts, because the backlash is going to come from inside your head. And in a second, I'm going to share with you a couple of key things that I work on with myself first, and also with my clients to, like, how do you push back against the backlash? Like, how do you come out victorious? That's the whole point of this conversation, right? It's like dealing with the backlash of being visible so you come out victorious, all right? So that you don't keep withdrawing, or you withdraw just long enough to, like, soothe and like you hide out just long enough to chill out and feel ready to go back out into the world. Okay, so you know, we're always worried about looking stupid. Like, am I going to look bad? Am I going to look like a total idiot? So that might be some inner backlash that's happening for you. But the big question that, you know, I don't know if this is the same for men. You might want to let me know about this, because I work with some men, but mainly women. And I know that the big question for most of my clients is, like, who do I think I am? Like, who do you think you are? That you can step out and, like, think you know what you're talking about and express yourself bigger than other people. Who do you think you are? So that is a mind thought backlash that happens inside of you. You also have all your emotions. That's some of your inner backlash, right? Your fear, your shame, vulnerability hangover. I feel like I mention this often. If you have not watched Brené Brown talk about the difference between shame and guilt, it's a great TEDx talk. And it really addresses the inner, like, the fear of getting in trouble, like we talked about, or not being loved, not belonging, and just that feeling. It feels so real, right? So you'll do anything in that moment to not feel the terrible feeling. Brandon says you worry about friends, old friends, school moms, that they think we're annoying, right? Absolutely. Like, am I going to be annoying? We have all these different crowds that we spend time with, especially, right? Like Brandon is saying, if you have kids, you're in a whole school system, you're in, like, a circle of other moms and other parents, and you care about those places, right? Because you are creating a community and a circle for your kids and for yourself as a parent too. Oh, and Brandon also is an entrepreneur, and she's saying that from her perspective, sometimes she's like, if you're going to share and step out about something, a product or a program, they think, oh, she's always trying to sell to me. Am I selling to them? Yeah, I totally relate to that. Because I sometimes, let me have a sip of water. I sometimes am like, what's my role here? Because I'm always like, oh, I know how to help you feel better. Like, I'm the person like, oh, that's a mindset thing. I can help you with that. Or, oh, that's an emotional thing. And it sounds like, actually, the next thing on my list here said some of the inner backlash is your thoughts. Mindset work can heal that. Or your emotions. You can, like, there's ways to evaporate your emotions or express them and get them out of your system, or to deal with them and learn how to hold on to them, but they don't run you. But also we have our genetics, right? And our DNA. I come from an Eastern European background. And so I've had these mystical visions of I'm in war-torn Eastern Europe and they're going to find me. Like, my family had money at a certain point. I don't know any of the details. We then did not have money. We lost our building, we lost our money. I think somebody in my family was running a newspaper, we lost the newspaper. But actually, that there was a certain kind of safety that my ancestors created for themselves by giving away their money. And there's this feeling in my DNA of hide, so they don't find me. And it's that same thing that's reflected in your life today if you have something like that, where it's like, don't shine too brightly. Don't step out because you need to hide where it's safe. I'm just going to take a look at and on Facebook too. Hell yeah, absolutely. like I was saying at the beginning of this video, I posted about a lost dog. I am outside a village in upstate New York. There's like 300 people in my village. So I posted to Facebook just trying to communicate with my village, right? My car had a flat tire. I wasn't going to drive into town. It's 2 miles away. And then the post got shared 13,700 times with all these people who had opinions. Yeah. Okay. So back to the genetic stuff. Okay. And I'm going to get really far out in a second. So just wait for that. But like, so you carry in your DNA, your DNA is turned on to experience a certain feeling of hiding, or it could be something really positive. But if you keep having this pattern of like, oh, I better hide, or oh, there's something wrong with me, or like, oh, who do I think I am? I always have my Czech grandmother in my head, like, Maya, who do you think you are? That kind of a vibe, right? You might be experiencing like this ancestral backlash, okay? So that's in your cells, it's in your DNA. Now, it's healable, right? This is where we start to get a little far out. It's healable, but it's in your DNA. And then the last thing I want to go really far out for you right now, because I believe this. Now, I work with people all the time to help them create a spiritual belief system that really supports them in all of their endeavors, right? And being creative, self-expressed, truth-telling individuals who live life to the fullest. But I don't ever tell anybody what their belief system should be. Here's something from mine. What if you have a remnant from a past life? I have had past life regression. I will tell you right now. I had this breathing problem. I could never inhale all the way. And I was hypnotized, and I was taken to a life where I was a baby who was being drowned in a well by like this marauding, like this man came into the village and was like setting the village huts on fire. And he took me, this little baby boy, was drowning me and holding me under the water in the well. After that regression, my breathing smoothed out. Again, whatever you believe, was that a visualization? Was it your imagination kicking some healing in? I don't actually care because it helped my breathing. And so I'm here to help you find how you can express yourself and get visible and deal with some of the backlash, and also just start to understand even, right, where some of the backlash is coming from. So just to sum up, because I see a bunch of people have joined, you have the outer backlash, which is other people, naysayers, like advice givers, people just being mean to you, right? And I posted earlier today about this, like, you know, if you're at all in the personal growth or spiritual world, you know, we talk a lot about fear versus love. But this weekend, you know, and my boyfriend is not new agey at all, but he just started saying, God, it's really true, isn't it? People are either coming from love or they're coming from fear. And when you're coming from fear, you're operating out of these mind thoughts and emotions and your old ancestral DNA and possibly past lives where you got screwed over and you're scared and you want to just do anything you can to control reality. But if you're like this new person, like, I've never really said that before, but like a new person, if you're like a new person, I feel like a new person in the past 9 years since I started doing hardcore personal growth. If you're feeling like this pull to express yourself more and you want to be bold and step out, then you're going to be practicing and trying to come more from love, right? And it's a practice because it's hard because we're wired for the fear, okay? So how do you get victorious? How do you get victorious when you want to step out and be more visible, but you have all this inner and outer backlash and it's really confusing and it feels so real? Okay, I'm going to give you just a few points here that I see have worked repeatedly. One that's not on my list, I just said, you need to kind of take some time and chill out sometimes and just heal yourself, right? Okay, but you need to stay strong, okay? If you are getting the call to step out, you need to stay strong. How do you do that? You surround yourself with the right people. That doesn't necessarily mean family. It might not even be the person who's been your best friend for a long time. All right. But if you are getting the call to step out, this is why it's so important to get a spiritual foundation that supports you. Like I said a minute ago, I believe in past lives, but I went through the ringer of really, really trying when my life hit the wall a few years ago to figure out what my beliefs really were. So you have to start listening to yourself and your beliefs. I had a client a few years ago. And I'll never forget it because it was so specific. I said to her at one point, like, well, what do you believe the point of life is? Like, what's the meaning of life? Why are we here? And she said, I don't know. You're born, life's a bitch, and then you die. And I said, how's that belief system working for you? And she's like, I'm fucking miserable, right? So you want to start getting clear on what your spiritual belief system is. For this client, she started to talk about spiritual and mystical experiences she had had as a little girl, where she started to see what she thinks were angels, what she thinks was a deceased grandmother. And her mother literally said to her, stop talking about that. You are spawn of Satan if you talk like that. And so this little girl shut it all down and then was like, all right, I guess you're born, life's a bitch, and then you die. But there she was. I think she was 40 at the time. And she's miserable. And she's like, do I change my life? Do I change my job? Do I move? Do I leave my husband? Do I have to lose weight? Like, what do I need to do? And what we discovered was she needed to get back to her original spiritual belief system. So you need to stay strong. And to do that, you need to start to create a spiritual foundation and a mindset that supports you staying strong and stepping out. Hi, Rick. Hi, Claudia. I see you beautiful people joining. Okay. Then you need to really get clear on what your mission and your message are. I spent a lot of time this weekend thinking about that for myself and feeling this thing. It's such a process, right? Which is why you need to be around people who are going to help nurture your process, because it's not linear and it's not direct and it's not immediate. And life will give you these situations where, it's like, I find myself saying this all the time, and I have to remind myself always, people are always waiting to step out and be visible. They want to be confident to step out and be visible. But the only way that you get the confidence to step out and be more visible is to just do it. That's why you have to stay strong. You just have to do it. And then after you have done it, you will have the kind of fortitude and confidence that you didn't have before doing it. So you have to do it. It might be a total awkward mess, but that's why I say stay strong, surround yourself with the right people, develop a spiritual belief system that supports you. The client I just mentioned, she started like going to acupuncture, I think was the first thing. She got her hair cut in a way that felt a little bit like out of her comfort zone. She's in the same job, the same marriage, the same house, but she's now honoring her own spiritual belief system and expressing it in her family and with her children in a way that she hadn't given herself permission to do before. So she didn't have to change anything external in her life to feel different inside. So spiritual foundation. And then this is so interesting. I say this also all the time. You have to take a stand. You have to take a stand. So when your mind starts saying, who do you think you are? And the people around you start saying, you should take a long, cold look at yourself, because what did this person say to me in a message? She said something like that my approach to taking care of this dog was really, really skewed. Take a long, cold, hard look at yourself, she said. And I wrote her back and I said, I absolutely believe in that. Thank you so much for your email. Because sometimes, how do you deal with the backlash? You have to figure out who you want to be, right? You have to take a stand. Who do I want to be? Do I want to be snotty and snarky and angry and push back? You can take a stand and be firm without pushing back. I don't know what your personal style is. But you need to get so clear and so connected and so committed so that your soul vision and your inner truth and your gut and your heart and your intuition, you're more committed to those than you are to what other people think and how you look and even how safe you feel. So, hey, Diana's here. Woo! Karen's like, that's from Maya. Yeah, that's right. I was on my rant. One of the things that I learned about myself in terms of me dealing with being visible this weekend is that I will often wait until I'm feeling really solid to be visible, because that's how I feel safer. I was talking to some accountability buddies in the mastermind that I'm in right now, and we were talking about doing Facebook Lives, and I was sharing when I first did even when I first did my first Facebook post, I was so freaked out that I'd stepped out and expressed myself that I shut off my computer and left the apartment, right? So we were talking like, what are some workarounds? And one idea for this one woman in my mastermind she's like, I need to do a Facebook Live, putting all this pressure on herself. And we were like, why don't you record a video and post that? I said, why don't you record a video and not post it anywhere? Just like do the video, like break the ice with yourself, right? So you have to get so committed to the bigger thing that you're like, I don't care, fuck it. And you will care, and that's okay too, okay? So Rita says, the rule number one, ahimsa, first do no harm. You know, Rita, that's beautiful because that's about living from love, a foundation of love, versus living from a foundation of fear. I posted about that earlier today on Facebook. Feel free to read. It's really been on my mind. But it's my goal to create a world where we can express ourselves freely and you're never in trouble for it. Because how else are we going to expand ourselves and our world? Are you guys not clear? Do we not need to expand our world? You know, I talk about breaking the rules that are holding you back. That's because the world needs new rules. So if you feel called to be a rule breaker, you need to find a way to go for it because the world needs you. So I actually want to invite you, if you are feeling really bold and like, are you ready to stop fucking around? I do have a few spots for private coaching, and I am going to post the link to my calendar in the comments, and you are welcome. I have a few spots open this week to sign up for a free 30-minute consultation with me. We'll talk what's your next level of freedom and self-expression, and we'll see. You'll get some kind of a thing from that call. People always do. Again, free 30-minute consultation with me. But at the end of the call, if it feels like I'm the right person to help you really go the mile in your own self-expression in your life, we'll know at the end of the call. But I want to invite you, if you're feeling called and to be bold and you're ready to like stop fucking around, you really want to do it, but you're scared, and I can't do this alone. I am so surrounded by people who support me. I have had so many coaches and spiritual healers in my life and accountability buddies. And it's just so necessary to get the right support. So if you're feeling called to step out and be visible and you want to learn like who you are, who you want to be with the backlash and all of that good stuff, and you feel like getting the guidance and the support will really nurture you on your path, sign up for a free consultation with me. I would love to talk to you. Let's see, Brandon says, oh yeah, she says, LOL, hate Facebook Live. Start slow or start in a small, safe group. Great advice, absolutely. I've started loving them, and today my accountability partners asked me, why do you love Facebook Lives? And I said, I did like, I don't know, 20, 50, I have no idea how many pre-recorded videos that I then uploaded to just break the ice with myself. And then I've led group programs. There's some people from my mastermind who are on this video right now. And I did a lot of Facebook Lives to launch that mastermind, and then also in the group. And at a certain point, we actually had, I think, was it our last call where we were going to do an audio call, and the whole website for the conference call line was down. It wasn't at my end. It was like, talk about life pulling you into something bigger, right? Because we had been talking about living from fuck it and how to have the nerve to stand out and not just fit in. That was our final month in the mastermind, how to have the nerve to stand out and not just fit in. And then we couldn't do the audio call. And we were like, I guess we're all going live on video right now. And it was a big moment. It was like a real moment of like, hey, you guys said you wanted to have the nerve to stand out and not just fit in. So, but yes, start slow in a safe group. Brandon says her best friend, her business partner, quote, says, keep doing it until you don't suck it anymore. Absolutely. And that's the other thing, permission to fuck it up and be messy. Come on, gang, right? That's the kind of, if you want permission, a safe place to fuck it up and be messy, you can also come to my Rule Breakers Freedom Forum. That's a place where we're letting it all hang out. But if you really feel like you're ready to be bold and step out and like really go for it and totally stop playing it small, like, you know, if I say to you, are you ready to stop fucking around? And you're like, yes, yeah, that's me. You get the tingle, right? The tingle. Sign up for a free consultation with me this week. And we'll get you some insight right there on the phone. And then we'll find out if I'm the right person to help you do that in a bigger way on the ground in your life. Laurence does a little testimonial. She says, thank God for having been coached by Maya Matzek. It has been a big turn in my life for the better, just saying. That's beautiful. I'm so excited to hear that. I love hearing that. Karen says, Oh, she says, my alive is like coming home. It doesn't, didn't we create like a home in the mastermind? That's the thing. If you're not totally comfortable in your home, like in yourself, in your family, in your immediate community, there are people out there and groups and communities out there where you can feel at home. And if this feels anything like a little bit of home to you, I would love to talk to you. You guys are awesome. Much love to you. All right, guys. See you soon.